Hey Stampers, welcome back to my craft room. Well, it's Friday, and it's the final card of the week, and it's going to be a fun fold. So we're making a waterfall card. So it uses a lot of the stamps, a lot of the dies, some of the pretty paper, and some of the embellishments. So you're going to get a really taste of how to use all of the supplies in the Unbounded Beauty suite set. And once you make this card, I'm sure you're going to be making it because it's versatile. It's great for all occasions. We're going to be making one with messages of faith, hope, love, and peace. So grab your supplies, settle in, and let's make a card. Here are the supplies. So I have a card base of Petunia Pop that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have a pretty piece of that designer series paper that is 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have a strip of white that is 9 by 2. And this is the heavy cardstock, because this is going to be our waterfall mechanism. You can use regular basic white cardstock. I've used that many times, but for today I'm using the heavyweight. And then I have 4 squares in the Petunia Pop, and these are 1 7/8 inch squares. And then I have 1 3/4 inch squares. I have 4 of those. And then I have a strip that's 4 by 1 inch. And then I have a couple scraps for our decorating that we're going to do. And I have a little piece of ribbon. This is the new ribbon. It's called Petal Pink and White 1/4 inch diagonal trim combo pack. So that's in the new catalog. Also, I have all of the sizes, the supplies, the colors, everything that I used, and shopping links on my blog. There's also a free project sheet there, so just head on over to my blog after the video and you can get your free project sheet with all that information. And if you shop with me, thank you in advance. I appreciate it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our waterfall strip and we're going to score it. And we're going to score it at 2 inches, 2 3/4, 3 1/2, and 4 1/4. Now we're going to do some stamping, so I'm going to bring in my piercing mat so I have a little bit of a cushion, because these are photopolymer stamps, and your images come out a little bit better when you have a little bit of a cushion. Sometimes you can use magazines, and I have done it just on my table. It just depends. If you're stamping and you don't get a good image, then put a little cushion underneath it. And we're going to bring in our white squares and Petunia Pop ink. So we're going to take some of the sentiments from Unbounded Love and we're going to stamp them right on our squares. I'm going to stamp right at the bottom of each square. I'm going to stamp hope, faith, love, and peace. Isn't the font pretty on these words? Just love it. Love it. Okay. Next, we're going to do a little bit more stamping. We're going to decorate each one of these. So I'm going to start with this one here. And now I'm using some of the stamps from Flowers of Beauty. And I'm bringing in Peach Pie. So we're using Petunia Pop and Peach Pie inks. And I'm going to just push these off to the side. And I'm going to ink up the little solid flower image. And I just stamped here and there all over that first piece. Now we're going to bring in another stamp. It's the filler stamp, and we're going to stamp in Petunia Pop. And this stamp has smaller images, and it fits right inside, so you just have to kind of remember what you did, which way you angled your first one, and kind of just stamp right over it. And that's what it looks like. Okay, let's do our next one. So I'm going to bring in the one we stamped love on, and I'm going to bring in another flower stamp from that set. I'm going to bring in the lined image of the littler flower. Let me show it to you. We're going to use these two now. So there's a lined image and a filler image. The lined image we're going to stamp in Petunia Pop, and we're going to fill it in with the Peach Pie. Now I'm going to fill it in with the filler stamp. So just like that. So a little tip on this is when I was stamping with the filler stamp, I stamped all over, but I didn't turn the stamp. I didn't position it differently. I just kept it in the same way. And the reason is when I came in with my filler stamp, I didn't have to think about which way to line it up, because it does line up a certain way. It's very easy to line up, but I didn't want to have to check each time which way it should go. So I just kept the line stamp in the same position. I just moved it here and there all over the card, and then it was easy to come in with the filler stamp and fill all those images in. Looking pretty, right? Okay, next let's do, and for this one I'm going to bring in the lined image of the largest flower, so it's this one right there. And I'm going to stamp it in peach pie, just like that. Okay, for this one, we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. So I'm going to bring in my scraps. So I have a petunia pop, peach pie, and a little piece of white. And I'm going to bring in the little leaf die from this set, and I'm going to cut that out of the peach pie. And then I'm going to bring in our flower dies. I'm going to cut out a larger flower in the petunia pop, and I'm going to cut out a little white flower, and I'll be right back. Remember, I fast forward so you don't have to go anywhere. I'll be back in a jiffy. Okay, so we got our white flower, our leaf, our peach pie leaf, and also a petunia pop larger flower. So I'm just going to glue these on to the faith square that we have. Blot off that extra glue. And that's how that one turned out. Okay, now I'm going to glue each one of these white squares onto a petunia pop square. Okay, let's bring our strip back in, and I'm going to take one of the dies from here, which is this one right here. It's got a little stitched edging all the way around it. So our waterfall piece has one big strip, and then it has all these little pieces that we scored. So on the longer strip, I'm going to take this and I'm going to fit it in here and cut it so just the bottom is going to have the cutout. So that's how I do it. So I just placed it inside the die with the bottom piece right at the bottom like that. And the only thing that's going to cut is this bottom piece, because the cutter isn't on the cardstock up there. So I'm just going to run this through the machine, and we're going to have a little pretty little border at the bottom here. I'll be right back. Okay, so it gave it that pretty little border at the bottom, and it even has a little bit of stitching showing. Then I'm going to bring in my hole punch, and I'm going to punch a hole right in the center at the bottom, right in the center. And we're going to do a little bit more stamping before we put this all together. So I'm bringing back in Petunia Pop. And this is going to be the inside of our card, so I'm going to stamp "Have a blessed day." Just like that. Fits perfectly on that 2-inch wide strip. Okay, let's go ahead and bring our base in and our Pretty Designer Series paper, and we're going to glue those two pieces together. And then this piece here is going to go just like that, and it's about 1 inch up. And the way we're going to attach that is with tear and tape. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tear and tape on the end. Okay, just like that. I got 2 strips on each end, and then I'm going to adhere it, and then I'm going to stick it right to the bottom about 1 inch up. So let me take off that backing. Just like that. Okay, let's bring this piece in. Okay, so we went ahead and we scored all our marks. We stamped. We put our little design on the bottom with a punched hole, and we're going to fold it in half. And we're going to start with the word piece, and we're going to adhere it on the first square down here at the bottom. So I'll just put some glue on the back and adhere it to that bottom area. Okay, just like that. Tiny little border all the way around. Okay, now I'm going to put glue on the next section, and I'm going to bring in our next square and adhere it. So I'm just putting glue right in the center of this next section. I'm not going all the way to the edge, but pretty darn close. And I'd let it set for a little bit in between each piece just so it doesn't move on you. So now we're going to put glue on the next section, right in the center there. And we're going to bring in our next square and lay it down. Okay, we got one more square up here, rectangle. We're going to put some glue in there and lay our next square down. Okay, so the way this card goes together is we have all those pieces there. We're going to open it up. We're going to slide this piece right down the center of that little flap that we just taped down. And we're going to kind of look at this and position it where we want it to be. I'm going to center it from left to right. And I'm going to bring my tear and tape back in. And I'm going to hold it down right here. And I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to put tear and tape right on that little flap right in the center. Just like that. Okay, the tape is still covered up with that protective paper. I'm just going to close it and double check my positioning, make sure I like it. Then I'm going to remove that backing. And then just close the whole thing up again. Just like that. Okay, so far so good, right? Well, let's bring that ribbon in, and we're going to fold it in half, and I'm going to go in the front of the hole, and I have a little loop here, and I'm just going to pull the ribbon through and create a little pull for our waterfall card. And before we look at this, let's put a little bit of these pretty in-colored dots on here, right on the front top piece. And there is your waterfall card. Ready? Isn't that fun? I love it. I love it with the little words, faith, hope, love, and peace. I thought that was a perfect use for those stamps. So this card, we used the stamp sets and the dies, the pretty paper, and the pretty little in-colored dots. So I thought that turned out really, really cute. Let's take a look at all the cards that we made this week. So we started off with a sympathy card where we did a masking technique, and then we embossed it with the exposed brick embossing folder. And we also did this fun one with the glitter paper and the pretty designer series paper. I just love that flower stem there stamped with the flowers on top. And then we did this fun fold for our special YouTube collaboration where we have a little bit of the designer series paper set back. And then we have our Friday fun fold. So I hope you liked all this week's cards. Like I said, I'm sure I'll be making more cards with this set because there's so much you can do with it. Go back to my blog for your free project sheet with all the sizes and the supplies that I used and shopping links. And again, if you shop with me, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. And especially thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate it so much. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you join us. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until next time, don't be shy. Stamp and shout.